We have the most insane towable fifth wheel ever made sitting in front of us. And not really just this specific one, but the manufacturer, which is Spacecraft, who builds these. They build insane RVs. It's hard to really describe it in any other way. So let's talk about the numbers. Now I know different floor plans, different models, however you make these are going to vary wildly in terms of what they weigh, what their gross... Are the gross vehicle weight ratings pretty much the same?
No, everything changes.
Everything
Cost,
changes.
Weights, everything changes depending on how you design it.
So what would you say the gross vehicle weight rating of this specific unit is in front of us, considering the fact that it doesn't have any solar on it? This was not spec'd with some massive solar battery build. This was designed to be plugged into shore power.
Correct.
So yeah, what would you say the weight on this one
weight
is?
rating capacity of this one is 50,000 with a dry weight of 37,000.
What is the pin weight on this unit in its current configuration, roughly?
11,000.
So you're going to go over my F450.
Just a bit.
Yeah, I tell people that all the time. When you're looking at something like this, you can't just look at the weight. Well, you can't just look at one of the weights, right? We know this thing is stupid heavy in every sense, from a GVWR perspective to an actual pin weight perspective. 11,000 pound pin weight. This thing has to be hauled by a class 7 or 8 truck, right?
It's made for a semi. It has air ride, air brakes. You're not moving it without a semi.
All right, so this is an insanely thick I-beam.
So you have a 12 by 35 main rail and then an 8 by 8 upper rail for the head section.
Okay, so when you say 12 by 35, are we talking about 35 pound per foot?
Yeah, 12 inches tall, 35 pounds per foot.
Okay, so let's digest that a little bit. When you look at a typical fifth wheel with a 12-inch I-beam, you're usually talking about an 11 to 12 pound per foot I-beam.
Maybe.
Maybe. Maybe.
Maybe.
This one is how many pounds?
35.
35 pounds for every foot of I-beam. The flange...
Times 2, because you have 2 of them.
Times 2. So the flange is the part you can see, and that looks like it's almost a half-inch thick.
Yeah, this is going to be a half-inch. And
yep, and the web
is about 5/8.
Yeah, that's insane. This is nuts. This is actually a more structural I-beam than what you're going to see on like a Class A diesel pusher with the tag axle. That is nuts. Hence why you have to tow it with the semi.
That's why you tow it with the semi.
All right, very good. I love the landing gear on this thing. And this is all custom made, right? This isn't just a dry van trailer you're buying from a fleet and converting.
No, at Spacecraft we build each chassis custom to each floor plan. So there's no two alike. They're similar, but there's no two alike. We build our own room guide mechanisms and everything. Yep. Everything's built in-house.
What's the biggest, most extreme battery solar package that you guys, at least that you're aware that you've installed today?
10,000 watts of solar and 110 kilowatts of battery.
110 kilowatts of battery? Man, you do the math on that one.
I'm trying to do the math.
Yeah, do the math.
It's not math and fast enough. Right
yeah.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a whole roof of panels.
It's with 10,000 watts of solar and that much battery, you never have to plug in.
Well, I am ready to go inside. Well, before we do that, now the way you've set up your storage and baggage area is very similar to like a Class A diesel pusher with a tag axle and a raised frame, right? You've designed it so you can get underneath the frame rail to load it up however you need to. Now, when it comes to what we're looking at here, is everything about this also customizable? So the buyer, let's say it's a country music singer or it's a construction company that wants to show off their stuff, you can build to spec what somebody wants.
Yeah. Tank sizes, battery capacity, whatever you want. If you want pull-out basement grills and stuff like that, anything you want.
Is the typical development time, engineering putting it together, roughly the same, or is that going to vary wildly based on how custom it is?
It varies depending on what you want and how crazy it is. Come on in.
This is crazy. Jared, I don't know about you, but these are the colors I would have picked.
These are nice. And the ceiling in here is nice. A lot of travel trailers I go in, I'm ducking. I obviously don't have to do that in here.
This is insane. And to protect it, I can even see, if you look at the floor throughout this video, they've actually put a clear protection over the entire floor because this is going to be somebody's unit.
It's somebody's home. This is sold, so we don't want to damage anything.
Oh, I totally agree. So this is really nice. So go ahead, kind of give us the tour. Let us know what's special, what you do different. And again, because it's so custom, it's hard to say what you do because it can change from unit to unit, right?
That's correct. Everything is customizable. Everything's different. So Really, you start with the floor plan or the most important items to the customer. That could be a large bedroom or a large shower, a large TV, second bedroom, whatever the most critical items are, and then we kind of build around that.
Okay, I guess when you're talking 57 feet worth of floor, how much of that's usable floor plan in terms of length? Because the overall length is 57 feet, right?
Correct. So the outside is, from the very tip to the very tail, is 57 feet.
Okay.
Inside's about 6 inches shorter.
Okay, so that's just accounting for the wall thickness.
Basically the wall thickness and the running lights.
I think those are things we can definitely talk about, because I'm imagining how you do your sidewall is probably going to be pretty consistent, right?
Yes.
How you insulate. So let's talk about those aspects of
To
it.
the most part. So our standard sidewall thickness is 2 inches. We use 1.5 inch polystyrene
Okay.
insulation, 1/4 inch gel coat siding on the outside, whatever interior wall coloring the customer
Did you say
wants.
1/4 inch gel coat siding?
Yeah.
That's very thick, by the way. So,
It is very
yeah,
thick.
yeah, nobody puts that on RVs, so that's pretty crazy.
What's
And then-
the R value of that?
13 to 15.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty standard on that. Now we do offer polar packages and different things like that. It's not really necessary. It's not necessarily the thickness of the sidewall that's the magic bullet. It's the fit, the finish, the seals, even the number of windows, the type of windows. Everything comes into consideration when you're talking about an R value. If you have a slide that leaks, you could have a 60 R value and it's not going to
Yeah.
do anything because your seals leak.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's not just one thing. It's a multitude of everything going together that makes quality.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this, and Jared, I'd love your feedback as well.
Yep.
We spend a lot of time in RVs, and you got a Grand Design
Yep.
Reflection,
Yeah.
and I have a Brookstone from Coachman, and you're limited in a lot of ways by the length,
Yes.
right? So where things are when slides are closed, how things look. So you may have a small kitchen because they had to try to put that space in the living room, or you may have a small bedroom because they wanted to give you a bigger kitchen. It almost seems as if at 57 feet, or let's say 56.5 feet, you have an unlimited palette to build what you want, because this kitchen is enormous. I mean, how do you feel about this space that you're in, Jared? Like
It's very large. With the opposing slides, it definitely it doesn't feel like you're in a normal RV, that's for sure.
yeah, it feels like I'm in a wide body 767. I mean, it feels huge, and especially because is this a fiberglass track up top?
Molded fiberglass ceiling and molded fiberglass roof.
Yep, and that gives it that kind of custom airline feel to it. But that's the key here is I don't feel as if one spot is sacrificing space. The master bedroom, which we probably should go into next, is absolutely insane. Look at this shower. This is the type of stuff you see in like a high-end condominium. But just the space here alone is insane. It's just crazy to think about the fact that this is an RV we're in.
It is. It is quite large. So each floor plan, it depends on the customer and what they want. This is what they wanted.
Yep, and they got full residential washer dryers in here, I'm guessing.
Yep.
Check that out. So this isn't the Splendide. This is the LG series that you're typically going to see at your home. Now, you did mention that there is air suspension on this unit.
Correct.
How would you say that this handles from a towing perspective? Like with typical RVs, you're talking about leaf sprung suspension. On a super high-end one, you might have like a Moride independent suspension. But this suspension here, is it the same suspension that you would see on a traditional like dry van trailer with air ride, or is it a custom air suspension for this application?
It's basically the same suspension you would see on an over-the-road truck trailer.
Okay, and how would you define that in terms of smooth towing? Because I've never been in a dry van when it's going down the road with air ride, but is it one of those scenarios where if I left something sitting on the counter and I go on a trip, it's still going to be there, or do you kind of have to stow stuff the same way you would in a normal
You
RV?
still want to stow stuff, but it gives you a very, very good ride.
Okay.
There's not much that's going to move around.
I'm assuming it's some kind of a mini split system with
LG mini split, yep.
Yep.
And how many units do you have in this unit?
There's 1 outdoor unit and 3 indoor units.
Okay. So Jared, you're 12'7", so if you hop inside the shower,
There we go.
how do you feel? He's actually 6'4".
Yep.
But
Yep. Still plenty of room.
man, underneath the shower
Yep.
and everything.
Yep. it passes the test.
What was in the very back? Because I saw another something going on back there, but I
So
didn't.
it's a
see
second
it.
bedroom, bonus room, office, half bath.
Do you know if this is going to be somebody's full-time residence, or is this just a toy?
No, it's full time.
Okay. Okay, so it's got a Murphy bed.
Murphy bed, and that's a work desk that will fold down, and then you also have half bath.
Okay. Very nice. So yeah, this is pretty crazy, and this space back here is pretty traditional. Nothing crazy going on back here, but it's cool to see that you can create the space to how somebody wants it.
Absolutely.
Have you done anything with water reclamation for the water systems yet?
We have. Again, almost anything the customer wants.
Yeah, if they can find it, honestly. I'm guessing that's probably if somebody says, I want to go with this specific thing, I found it, I know who has it, can you make it work? You do a lot of that stuff as well?
So that's going back to the very beginning, in designing the floor plan, what are your biggest priorities? What's the have-to-haves, not the nice-to-haves? And then we can design it around that.
Very cool. Well, I look forward to Jared revealing his spacecraft on his channel very soon, and
Very soon.
towing it there with the
How
Ram.
many more months does it have? I can't remember.
Oh, it's on back order. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah.
He's waiting for the right handle pulls
Yeah.
for his cabinets, and it's going to take a while. All right. Well, I really appreciate it. What was your name one more time?
Wyatt.
Wyatt, thank you so much for your
sir.
time. Beautiful unit. First spacecraft I've ever walked through, but I will tell you this. I get talked to and asked about these units so much. When are you going to review a spacecraft? When are you going to review a spacecraft? I've seen 3 or 4 of them pass me on the highway. It's crazy when you get passed by one. It's always the one with the red and black swirls. I don't know if that's like the more popular color, but I see it all the time. Maybe it's the same one. But yeah, beautiful unit. You guys definitely are a notch above the last highest notch that was already there.
Good.
So that's awesome. I'm very impressed. Jill, Jared, any final words?
No, very impressive. Yep,
Very cool.
impressive unit.
Yep, so if you ever want to do a solar build on something like this, I'm game. I'd love to see. Maybe we can visit your factory. That'd be kind of cool.
Absolutely, anytime.
Thank you so much for your time,
Thank you.
Wyatt. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channels. I'll put a link to Jared's channel in the description of this video, and I'll put a link to Spacecraft too, in case you guys have had a spacecraft on your bucket list and you want to go ahead and place the order. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up. We'll talk to you again very soon.